Gentlemen, are there any objections to the declaration as it now stands?
Yes, I have.
You, Mr. Adams.
Yes. Mr. Jefferson, it just so happens that the word is unalienable, not inalienable.
I'm sorry, Mr. Adams. Inalienable is correct.
I happen to be a Harvard graduate.
And I attended with William and Mary, Mr. Adams.
Gentlemen, please. Mr. Jefferson, will you yield to Mr. Adams' request?
No, sir, I will not.
Oh, very well, I withdraw.
Good for you, John.
Very well, gentlemen. We are about to brave the storm in a skiff made of paper. And how it will end, God only knows.
Well, that's a pretty large signature there, Johnny.
So Fat George in London can read it without his glasses. All right, step right up, gentlemen. Don't miss your chance to commit treason.
Hancock's right. This paper's our passport to the gallows. There's no backing out now. For if we do not hang together, we shall most assuredly hang separately.
Well, in my case, the hanging won't be so bad. One snap it'll be over, just like that. But look at Reed here. They'll be dancing a jig long after I'm
Gentlemen, forgive me if I don't join in the merriment, but if we're arrested right now, my name's the only one on the damn thing!
From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies, Army of the United States, in New York, dispatch number 1209. To the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President, dear Sir. I can now report with some certainty that the eve of battle in New York is near at hand. Toward this end, I have ordered the evacuation of Manhattan and directed our defenses to take up stronger positions on the Brooklyn Heights. At the present time, my forces consist entirely of Hazard's Delaware militia and Smallwood's Marylanders, a total of 5,000 troops, to stand against 25,000 of the enemy. And I begin to notice that many of them are lads under 15 and old men, none of whom could truly be called soldiers. One personal note to Mr. Lewis Morris of New York: I must regretfully report that his estates have been totally destroyed, but that I have taken the liberty of transporting Mrs. Morris and 8 of the children to Connecticut in safety. The 4 older boys are now enlisted in the Continental Army. As I write these words, the enemy is plainly in sight beyond the river. How it will end, only Providence is correct. Dear God, what brave men I shall lose before this business ends. Your obedient, G. Washington.
Very well, gentlemen. Mr. McNair, go ring the bell.
President,
Mr. Morris?
to hell with New York. I'll sign it anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Stephen, sit down.
No, I want to remember every man's face as he signs.
Very well.
Massachusetts, Mr. John Adams. Rhode Island, Mr. Stephen Hopkins. New York, Mr. Lewis Morris. New Jersey, the Reverend Jonathan Witherspoon. Pennsylvania, Dr. Benjamin Franklin. Delaware, Mr. Caesar Rodney. Maryland, Mr. Samuel Chase. Virginia, Mr. Thomas Jefferson. North Carolina, Mr. Joseph Hughes. South Carolina, Mr. Edward Rutledge. Georgia, Dr. Lyman Hall.
Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Before we can adjourn this afternoon, the gentlemen of this Congress have one more important item of business that we need to attend to. I invite everyone to be seated for a moment, and I yield the floor to Lowell Lightsole, a.k.a. the Reverend Jonathan Witherspoon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer one final resolution for our adoption. In order to do so, I invite to step forward our distinguished colleague from Rhode Island, Mr. Hopkins. The Second Continental Congress, assembled in special session at the Courtyard Theater in Humboldt Wharf, Pennsylvania, June 13 to 29, 2014, a resolution of gratitude and support. Whereas the people of the United States of America celebrate the declaration of their independence from Great Britain on July 4 each year. And whereas the Courtyard Theater chose to include in their 2014 schedule the production of the musical 1776 during the month of June as a prelude to that national holiday. And whereas Mr. Bob Taylor, director of this production, successfully met the challenge of recruiting and filling a nearly all-male cast with a variety of talented theater enthusiasts. And whereas Mr. Taylor also decided to take on and portray one of the character roles himself, and whereas Mr. Taylor succeeded in assembling a gifted support crew of set builders, light and sound technicians, costume designers and creators, choreographers and musicians, and whereas Mr. Taylor designed and led the construction of the set to represent this congressional meeting house room and adjacent scenes in Philadelphia, and whereas this show, 1776, is one of only 3 among the hundreds with which he has worked that Mr. Taylor has directed and produced more than one time, and whereas so many of those who attended the performances very willingly and enthusiastically shared their enjoyment and pleasure over what they had seen and heard from the stage, therefore now be it resolved that we, the members of the cast and crew of the Courtyard Theater 2014 production of 1776, formally express our deepest and most heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Bob Taylor for his dedicated leadership and his creative inspiration in bringing us together to make this production a success, and be it further resolved that we mutually pledge and support for his efforts and for those of the Courtyard Theater staff in promoting and producing high-quality theater productions here in the Susquehanna Valley for many years to come. Mr. President, I move its adoption.
The motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second, Mr. President.
It's not debatable, and we will proceed with a voice vote. All in favor say yea.
Yay.
Yay!
The yeas have it, and the motion is adopted.
It was a great cast to work with. People that I had helped me as far as everything is concerned. The costume that you see up here, the set that you see up here, everyone gave 100%. Everybody showed up when they needed to show up. People, things that on this stage were just kind of gathered as we went along. You know, all of a sudden somebody come in and bring chairs in, or somebody bring something else, and so it was definitely a joint effort on everyone's part. But I do appreciate it so much. And it came as a huge, huge surprise. I had no idea. I hate this stuff.